Started as a joke. At least, that's what I kept telling myself whenever I thought about it. Whenever I remembered the way the camera light blinked red and how my sister laughed behind the ring light, calling me her perfect mannequin. I told myself it didn't mean anything, that it was just for fun, a prank, a silly collaboration for her fashion channel. But even then, deep down, I knew that laughter hid something heavier inside me. Something I didn't want to face. My name, or maybe I should say his name, was Ryan. And I wasn't supposed to belong in front of a camera. I was the quiet one, the background noise in my sister's glossy, colorful world of lipstick hauls and dress reviews. She was the star, radiant, confident. Her voice always perfectly tuned to that sweet influencer tone that made her followers adore her. I envied her sometimes, the way she seemed so sure of herself. But envy was safer than what I actually felt when I watched her transform for her videos. Like she was wearing her truest self right on her skin while I was still searching for mine. When it all began, I was just supposed to help with lighting. My sister, Lila, had asked me to hold her reflector during a shoot for her spring collection try-on haul. I remember standing there, adjusting the angle so the light hit her face just right, and thinking how strange it was. The world she lived in, all curated and bright, like reality filtered through glitter. "You'd be great on camera," she said offhandedly. "You've got that calm face. Mysterious." I laughed it off, my voice catching awkwardly. "Yeah, sure. Me, the next big fashion icon." She grinned, tilting her head. "Don't underestimate yourself, Ree. Sometimes the camera finds what you're trying to hide." That line stuck with me. I don't think she even realized what she said, but it hung in my head for days. The camera finds what you're trying to hide. Then came the prank, or what I thought was a prank. Lila had a sponsorship to promote a new makeup brand that specialized in transformative beauty, all about expressing every version of yourself. She needed a volunteer model, and apparently I was the unlucky one. She cornered me in the living room with her camera already rolling. "Come on, it'll be funny," she said. "We'll call it turning my brother into a beauty guru." I protested, obviously. I said no, told her people would make fun of me, told her it was embarrassing. But she just smiled, the kind of smile that knew she'd already won. "Relax. Just makeup. No one's gonna take it seriously." And so I sat down under her lights. The air smelled like hairspray and foundation, thick with that artificial sweetness that clings to everything after a shoot. She tied my hair back, started with foundation, moving with the same practiced precision she used on herself. Her voice floated through the room, calm, teasing, narrating to her audience as though I wasn't even there. "See, his skin's actually really nice. Boys never realize how good they could look if they just tried a little." Tried a little. The words burned quietly somewhere inside me. I looked at myself in the mirror as she worked. First the concealer, then the eyeshadow, a soft peach shade that shimmered faintly when I blinked. The reflection didn't look like me, not exactly, but it didn't look wrong either. Just different. Like a version of me I'd never allowed to exist. Lila laughed as she applied the lipstick, a subtle rose color that warmed my face. "Wow," she said, stepping back. "You actually look kinda pretty." Pretty. That word shouldn't have made my heart skip. But it did. Of course, I acted annoyed. I rolled my eyes, tried to wipe off the lipstick, and muttered something about how stupid it all was. Lila laughed again, posting a quick story on her channel. "Look at my brother. He's serving more looks than I am." The clip went viral overnight. Her followers loved it. The comments flooded in. "Wait, your brother looks gorgeous. He's got that androgynous model vibe, OMG. You should totally do a part 2. I tried not to look, but curiosity is a cruel thing. I scrolled through hundreds of comments, half of them laughing, half of them serious, all of them staring straight through me. For the first time I wasn't invisible. But it didn't feel like me they saw. It was someone else, someone I couldn't name yet. The next day, Lila asked if I'd do another video. She was excited, her subscriber count climbing, brands reaching out. "Just one more," she said. "They love you. It's good exposure." I refused at first. I told her it was humiliating. But she looked at me the way only a sister can, that mix of mischief and genuine affection, and I gave in. Again. This time she dressed me up. A soft pastel dress, a wig, a pair of delicate silver earrings. I laughed nervously as she adjusted the straps, telling myself it was still a joke, still just for her audience. But when she turned the camera on, something changed. The lights hummed softly. The mirror reflected a version of me that didn't feel fake anymore. I didn't recognize the person staring back, but they seemed to recognize me. It was supposed to be pretend. But as the fabric brushed against my skin and the wig framed my face, the joke stopped being funny. Started feeling like confession. After the shoot, I couldn't stop looking in the mirror. Alone in my room, I wiped away the makeup slowly, layer by layer. Yet each time I removed something, I felt more like I was losing something real. My reflection looked bare, but my heart felt heavier. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, hearing Lila's words replay in my head. The camera finds what you're trying to hide. I wondered what exactly it had found. I told myself it was just content, just performance. But when I closed my eyes, I didn't see Ryan anymore. I saw her. The reflection that shouldn't exist but somehow did. The one I couldn't stop thinking about. And that's when I realized the fear wasn't about people seeing me like that. The real fear was about me seeing myself. For years, I'd hidden behind ordinary. The kind of boy who never stood out, never experimented, never dared. My sister lived her life out loud, but I existed quietly, like a shadow in her highlight reel. And yet, when that mirror caught me in that moment, soft makeup, borrowed clothes, a strange calm in my chest, it felt like the first honest thing I'd ever seen. I didn't want to believe it, so I buried it. I deleted the clips from my phone, avoided Lila's camera, and told her I didn't want to be part of her channel anymore. She rolled her eyes but didn't push it. Still, every time I passed by her studio, I could hear her recording, the soft buzz of her ring light glowing in the dark. And each time I felt that strange tug again, a quiet ache that whispered I'd left something unfinished. I didn't know it yet, but that was just the beginning, the first crack in the reflection. The part of me I'd buried was already starting to breathe. The video was supposed to fade into the background, just another viral moment in the endless churn of the internet. But it didn't. Followed me. Every time I opened my phone, someone had tagged me in another clip, another comment, another reaction. Lila's brother is stunning, one said. Is that really him? Another asked. The world had seen me in a way I hadn't even seen myself. And now their eyes wouldn't turn away. First, I avoided mirrors. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? A grown man afraid of his own reflection. But I couldn't look. Every time I passed by the bathroom mirror or caught my image in a dark window, I saw flashes, traces of her. The curve of a cheek that wasn't mine, the softness around my eyes that felt borrowed but right. Lila noticed it before I did. She'd stop mid-sentence sometimes, looking at me like she was trying to solve a puzzle. You okay? She'd ask. You've been quiet lately. I'm fine, I'd reply, the universal lie. She didn't push. But she didn't delete the videos either. Then one night, when she was out filming a brand shoot, I wandered into her studio. The air smelled faintly of rose powder and fabric spray. Her scent, her world. I sat down at her vanity, my reflection framed by glowing bulbs that hummed softly. The same setup she'd used on me. The same mirror that had shown me someone else. For a long time I just stared. My reflection looked ordinary again. Tired eyes, messy hair, stubble shadowing my jaw. I told myself that was real. That was safe. But my hand moved on its own, brushing over her makeup brushes, tracing the soft bristles. I didn't even realize I'd started applying foundation until I saw the first pale layer spreading across my skin. I didn't know what I was doing, or maybe I did. The motions came easily, like muscle memory I shouldn't have had. A little concealer. A sweep of color across my cheeks. My heart was hammering, but my hands were steady. Then I picked up a lipstick. It was the same shade Lila had used that first time. Rose, soft and delicate. When I pressed it to my lips, the mirror shifted. Not literally. But something changed. For a moment, I didn't see myself. Saw her. The same eyes, the same softness, but clearer this time, like she'd been waiting behind the glass for me to stop pretending. Her expression wasn't mocking or playful. She looked calm, certain. I should have been terrified. Instead, I whispered, "Who are you?" No answer, of course. Just the silence of the room, the low hum of the lights. But it felt like something was listening. When I wiped it off a few minutes later, my reflection seemed duller, like the light itself had dimmed. I sat there for a long time, staring at the person who was supposed to be me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd betrayed someone. The next morning, Lila burst into my room, excited. "Guess what?" she said, holding up her phone. "The video's hit 500,000 views. People keep asking when we're doing another one." Groaned. "Lila, I told you." I know, she interrupted, waving her hand. "But listen, a brand actually reached out. They said they'd love to sponsor a transformation series. We could make this huge You just have to." "No," my voice came out sharper than I meant. "I said I'm done with it." She frowned. "Why are you being so weird about it? You looked amazing. You can't even deny it." "I can deny it," I snapped. "Because it wasn't me." She went quiet then, studying me. Her eyes softened a little. "Maybe it was. I couldn't handle that." I grabbed my jacket and walked out. 4 days after that, I tried to bury myself in routine. Work, sleep, repeat. But everything felt hollow. It was like there were two versions of me now. The one who walked through the world pretending, and the one who still lingered in that mirror, waiting for me to come back. I started dreaming about her. The dreams were strange, too vivid. I'd be standing in front of a mirror that didn't reflect me at all. Instead, it showed her standing on the other side, moving just a heartbeat slower. Her lips would move, but I couldn't hear the words. Sometimes she'd reach out, pressing her fingers against the glass. I'd wake up before I ever touched her hand. One night I gave in again. I told myself it was just curiosity. I set up the camera, the same one Lila used, and hit record. I didn't know why I needed to. Maybe I wanted to see if she'd come back when the lens was on. I dressed simply. Nothing extravagant, just one of Lila's oversized sweaters, soft and off-shoulder, the kind that draped rather than fit. I tied my hair differently, brushed it out of my face, and added the lightest touch of makeup. Just enough to soften the edges. When I looked in the mirror this time, the reflection didn't feel separate anymore. Felt merged. Like I wasn't watching someone else. I was seeing myself for the first time. The camera kept rolling, but I wasn't thinking about how I looked. I was thinking about how I felt. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small. Afterward, I almost deleted the footage. But something stopped me. The way I looked in that video, it wasn't embarrassing. It was peaceful. A week later, Lila found it. She knocked on my door holding her camera, a strange look on her face. "You left your SD card in the studio," she said. "I saw what was on it." My stomach dropped. "You what?" "I didn't mean to invade your space," she said quickly. "But Ryan, that wasn't just you messing around. That was beautiful." I couldn't meet her eyes. "Don't." "I mean it," she pressed. "I've filmed hundreds of people, done 1,000 looks. But I've never seen someone look that honest in front of the camera. It wasn't acting." I wanted to yell to tell her to stop talking, but her words had already hit something raw inside me. Later that night she posted a new video. She didn't ask me this time, she just uploaded it. The title read, "A Different Kind of Beauty. My Brother's Quiet Transformation." I found out the next morning when my phone exploded with notifications. At first I was furious. But when I opened the comments, froze. There's something haunting about this. Like they're becoming who they really are. I don't even know what I'm looking at, but it feels true. That's not your brother. That's someone discovering herself. For hours I just sat there scrolling, reading, breathing. And then I looked at the mirror again. For the first time I didn't look away. The reflection blinked back at me, calm, unafraid. And though I couldn't explain it, I knew she wasn't just some illusion of makeup and light. She was the truth I'd been denying all along. It's strange how silence can become louder than words. After that second video went up, the house seemed filled with it. Heavy, breathing silence. Lila tried to act normal, but I could feel her watching me differently now. Not judgmental, not mocking, just careful. Like she didn't know who she was talking to anymore. Maybe she didn't. I didn't either. The comments never stopped. They multiplied, spread, echoed through my notifications like whispers I couldn't escape. She's beautiful. He looks more comfortable like that than he ever did before. You can see it in the eyes. That's someone finding themselves. The words tangled in my head like static. I told myself to ignore it. Told myself I could go back to normal if I just stopped thinking about it. But every reflection, every glass surface I passed betrayed me. The image looking back wasn't just Ryan anymore. It was both. A merging of lines, a question I didn't know how to answer. One evening, I caught my reflection in the window while brushing my teeth. The bathroom light was off. The night outside a soft blur of streetlights and rain. The reflection shimmered faintly, almost like the surface of the glass was breathing. For a heartbeat, I thought I saw her again, the same calm, knowing expression from before. Why do you keep hiding? The words didn't come from the room. They came from inside, soft, intimate, undeniable. I dropped the toothbrush, heart pounding. The reflection didn't move. Just watched me, patient. I wanted to run. But something about the way her eyes held mine stopped me. Because I already knew the answer. I was hiding because if I stopped, I wouldn't be able to go back. That night I dreamed again. I stood in front of the same mirror from Lila's studio. Only this time, the frame was cracked, thin spiderwebs of glass splitting across my reflection. She stood on the other side, her expression gentle, her hand pressed to the surface. "You don't have to fight me," she whispered. "You don't have to pretend anymore." When I woke up, my cheeks were wet. The next morning, Lila knocked softly on my door. "Hey," she said, peeking in. "I'm heading out for a collab shoot. You okay?" "Yeah." "You sure?" She lingered, hesitant. "I've been thinking. Maybe we could do another video. But this time just you. However you want. No theme, no gimmick." I stared at her. "Why?" "Because people saw something real last time," she said quietly. "And maybe you need to see it too." She left before I could answer. All day I couldn't stop thinking about it. The idea terrified me, but it also pulled at something deep inside. By sunset I was back in her studio. The mirror glowed softly beneath the bulbs, waiting. This time I didn't reach for her brushes or wigs. I just sat there. I looked into my reflection, the tired eyes, the cautious lips, and spoke. "I don't know who you are," I said softly. "Or maybe I do. Maybe I just don't know how to admit it." The reflection blinked, lips curving slightly, almost tender. My throat tightened. "You're not supposed to exist," I whispered. But she did. I picked up the brush, not out of impulse but intention. Every motion felt deliberate. Not hiding, not pretending. Foundation soft as a sigh. Liner, tracing the shape of eyes that finally looked alive. The same rose lipstick, a touch more certain now. When I looked up again, the reflection wasn't a stranger anymore. And then I did something I hadn't done before. I smiled. It wasn't perfect, not cinematic or glamorous like Lila's world, but it was real. My smile trembled, eyes glassy, but it was mine. I hit record. The red light blinked to life, and for the first time I didn't flinch under it. I spoke, softly at first, then stronger. "I don't know what this means. I don't know who I'm becoming. But maybe that's okay." I talked for 10 minutes straight. Not rehearsed, not styled. Just me. About growing up feeling invisible, about how easy it was to blend into silence, about how terrifying it was to finally see yourself. When I finished, I turned off the camera and just sat there, breathing. The mirror seemed to hum faintly, the air thick with something sacred. Not magic, but understanding. Later I showed the footage to Lila. She didn't say anything for a while. When she finally did, her voice was soft. "You're not the same person I used to film." "Maybe I never was," I said. She nodded. "Then maybe it's time you pick your own name for the credits." I laughed, half in disbelief, half in fear. "You mean like—" "Yeah," she said simply. "Like her." It was such a small moment, but it cracked something open. That night I couldn't sleep. I stood in front of the mirror again, the house quiet, everyone asleep. My reflection stared back, makeup smudged, hair messy, eyes tired but peaceful. I whispered, almost afraid of the sound of my own voice. "Who are you?" And this time the answer came from my own lips. "I think I'm starting to find out." The reflection smiled. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel split. I didn't feel like I was performing or pretending. I felt whole, fragile but whole. And yet, I knew this was only the beginning. Because understanding something and accepting it aren't the same. Acceptance takes confrontation, the kind that strips away everything you thought was safe. And I could feel it coming, like a storm building quietly behind the mirror. The next morning, when Lila posted the new video, the response was unlike anything before. Not viral in the fun way. Viral in the emotional way. "This video changed me. I saw myself in every word. I don't even know who they are, but I see them. Really see them." The internet had named me before I could name myself. And though it should have scared me, it didn't. Because deep down, I'd already seen it written somewhere else. In the reflection that had stopped being a stranger. The video changed everything. For a while, it felt like standing under a spotlight that I never asked for. Strangers filled my comment sections with words that should have meant comfort, but each one cut deeper than I expected. They called me brave. They called me beautiful. They called me her. And the more they said it, the harder it became to breathe. Not because they were wrong, but because I couldn't deny they were right. I stopped going out for a few days. I told Lila I needed space, but what I really needed was silence. The house became my shell, the mirror my only witness. I'd stand in front of it for hours, searching for Ryan, trying to bring him back. But every time I tried to adjust my posture, flatten my expression, erase the softness in my eyes, it felt like I was killing something alive inside me. And then came the first message from Mom. She had seen the video. Course she had. The internet is relentless, and nothing stays hidden for long. Her text was short, almost trembling between words. "Lila sent me your video. Are you okay? Do you want to talk?" I didn't respond. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know how to explain what I didn't yet understand myself. That night, I sat in the dark, the soft glow of my phone screen lighting the room. I scrolled through old photos, pictures of me before any of this started. I stared at them like I was looking at a ghost. My own smile looked forced, my eyes empty, like someone performing the idea of being alive rather than living it. And then I opened the most recent still from Lila's video. The difference wasn't subtle. It wasn't even about makeup or clothes. It was in the way my eyes met the camera, like I wasn't hiding anymore. For the first time, I realized I didn't hate that version of me. I just didn't know how to introduce her to the rest of the world. When Mom finally called, I let it ring 3 times before answering. "Hi, Mom." There was a pause, the kind that says more than words. Then softly, "You look happy, sweetheart." The word sweetheart nearly undid me. "I don't know what I look like anymore," I admitted. "You look like you," she said simply. "Just more." She didn't understand everything, I knew that. But maybe she didn't have to. The real confrontation came a few days later. Not from family, but from me. I was editing new footage just for myself this time. Clips of quiet moments, brushing my hair, trying on outfits, smiling without realizing the camera was still recording. I wasn't planning to post it. I just wanted to see. Halfway through, I noticed something strange in the playback. For a few frames, the lighting flickered, just slightly, and my reflection in the background seemed out of sync. Her head tilted half a second later than mine, like the mirror was lagging behind reality. Froze. Replayed it again. The same glitch. It wasn't possible, but then again, none of this had felt possible. I walked to the mirror in the studio. The bulbs buzzed faintly, their light trembling in the quiet. My reflection looked normal, but only at first. Then slowly she smiled. I hadn't moved. "Why are you afraid?" Her voice echoed softly, but it wasn't out loud. It was inside me, the same way it had been before. "I'm not afraid," I whispered, though my hands were shaking. "You are," she said. "You're afraid they'll see what you already know." My throat tightened. What if they hate me for it? Her expression softened. "They might. But you won't. Not anymore." I stepped closer, the glass cool beneath my fingertips. "Who are you?" I asked again, though this time I knew the answer. "I'm the part of you that was waiting," she said. "You buried me under years of pretending, under fear, under names that never fit. But I was always here." Tears blurred my vision, but I didn't look away. "Then what happens now?" "Now," she whispered, "you stop running." I blinked, and the reflection matched me again. Just me. But different somehow. Lighter. When I looked down, I realized my hands had stopped trembling. That night, I told Lila I wanted to film one more time. She didn't ask why. She just smiled softly, handed me the camera and said, "Do it your way this time." I sat before the mirror again, no script, no setup. The reflection felt like an old friend now. I pressed record, the red light glowing steady, and spoke. For most of my life, I thought the scariest thing was being seen. But it turns out, the real fear is being invisible to yourself. The words flowed without effort. I don't know what name fits me yet. I don't know what people will say. But I'm done hiding behind jokes, behind old pictures, behind the idea of someone I never really was. I gestured to the mirror, to my reflection. This is real. And I think it always has been. Paused, letting the silence breathe. If you're watching this and you feel like you're trapped between versions of yourself, I hope you know it's okay to want more. When I stopped recording, I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I just breathed slow, deep, steady. Lila was standing quietly at the door. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. She crossed the room, wrapped her arms around me and whispered, "I'm proud of you." I smiled into her shoulder. "You started this, you know." "Maybe," she said. "But you finished it." Later that night I uploaded the video. Not under Lila's channel this time. Under my own. No flashy title, no hashtags. Just one simple name. The Girl in the Mirror. The comments began almost immediately. Some supportive, some confused, some cruel. But for once I didn't care. I wasn't reading them to understand myself. I already knew who I was becoming. When I turned off the lights and glanced one last time at the mirror, my reflection smiled softly. Not separate, not haunting, just home. Still, I could feel something lingering in that quiet. The sense that true peace only comes after acceptance, not before. And I wasn't quite there yet. That part was still waiting, just beyond the reflection, patient and inevitable. Morning light spilled through the curtains, soft and weightless. Dust motes floating in the still air like tiny pieces of time that refused to settle. For the first time in months, I didn't dread seeing myself in the mirror. I didn't flinch at my reflection, didn't search for someone missing. The face staring back at me felt whole. The comments under my latest video had exploded overnight. Millions of views, thousands of messages. Some kind, some cruel. But all of them were noise compared to the quiet voice that now lived inside me, the one that no longer whispered in shame, but hummed with calm certainty. I had spent so long being afraid of being seen that I never realized the mirror wasn't my enemy. It wasn't judging me. It had been waiting. That morning, I opened the door to Lila's studio. The familiar hum of her lights filled the air. She was already there, camera in hand, smiling softly. "Ready?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. But this time no filters. No edits. Just me. She nodded. "Always." I sat in front of the mirror again. The same one that had once felt like a trap, now more like a window. I looked into it and smiled, small but real. "Hey!" I said quietly to my reflection. We made it. There was no response, no haunting echo this time. Just stillness. Harmony. Lila started recording, but I didn't speak for a while. I wanted the silence to exist, to let people feel the weight of calm, not chaos. Then, when it felt right, I began. I used to think identity was something you had to choose. Like you picked a version of yourself and stayed there forever. But that's not how it works. Identity is a mirror. It shifts with light, with time, with courage. I looked at my reflection, eyes soft. This isn't a story about pretending to be someone else. It's about remembering who I was before the world told me who I should be. Lila's camera light glowed quietly, a red pulse of life. I didn't need to rehearse, didn't need to act. I just spoke from that deep, trembling truth that had always been there, hidden beneath layers of fear. I spent years thinking I was broken, that something was wrong with me for wanting to feel softer, freer, truer. But the mirror doesn't lie. It only shows you what you refuse to see. I smiled then, genuinely. So, if you're watching this and you feel that ache inside, that quiet voice asking if maybe you're more than what you've been told, listen to it. It's not weakness. It's the start of being alive. The words came out steady, clear, and strangely peaceful. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was confessing. I felt like I was living. When the video ended, I didn't check the playback. I didn't even ask Lila to edit it. It didn't need perfection. Just needed truth. That night, I stood by the window again, looking out over the city. The glass reflected my face faintly against the dark. No longer a ghost, no longer a question. Just me. I whispered to the reflection, half smiling. You don't have to hide anymore. And for the first time, the reflection didn't answer. It didn't need to. Because it wasn't separate anymore. I was her. The next few weeks blurred into something gentle. Messages from strangers arrived. Stories from people who had seen themselves in my words. Some called me brave, others called me delusional, but I learned not to measure my worth by their voices. I had already found my own. Mom came to visit one afternoon. She knocked softly, then stepped inside, holding a small box. I thought you might want this, she said. Inside was a necklace. A simple silver chain with a tiny charm shaped like a mirror. It was mine when I was your age, she said quietly. I think it suits you. I took it in my hands, fingers trembling slightly. Thank you, I whispered. She smiled. I don't understand everything, but I see you. And that's enough, isn't it? It was. The next time I filmed, I didn't wear makeup for transformation. I wore it for expression. I didn't hide behind lighting or effects. I spoke my name aloud for the first time, soft but certain. It wasn't about abandoning the past, but embracing the truth that had always lived beneath it. The mirror, once my greatest fear, had become a friend, a quiet witness to my becoming. I think we all have one, not just made of glass but buried somewhere inside us. The kind that doesn't reflect your face, but your truth. The kind that waits patiently until you're ready to look. Now, when I stand before mine, I don't search for Ryan or for her or for anyone else. Just see me. Someone who was never lost. Just waiting to be found. And maybe that's what acceptance really is. Not a declaration, not a celebration. Just a quiet moment when the noise fades, and the reflection finally feels like home. The camera light blinks softly. My sister smiles behind it. And I whisper the last words I'll ever need for this story. I'm not hiding anymore. The screen fades to black. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel.